distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Phat. This section, we will be exploring policies and practices for rural resilience. 8 decades ago, when Dr. Norman Bullock initiated the Green Revolution, which substantially changed world agriculture, saved over billion people from starvation. He worked closely with government of Mexico, India, Pakistan, and others. Certainly for any technology, new technology to be adopted widely, there should be enabling policy environment, as well as appropriate infrastructure, both physical and social. Sitting here, I'm thinking of the case of my home country, Vietnam. In 1945, 2 million Vietnamese died from hunger, including my relatives and villagers. Vietnamese people will never forget this pain. And after that, we've been working hard to ensure food security for the nation. But not until 1990s, we could do that, we could achieve that. After carrying out a comprehensive market-oriented policy reform, the reform which brought strong incentive for farmers, for businesses to work hard, to invest in agriculture, to produce more food and other agricultural commodities. But as you all know, any policy reform is not easy. In the process, when Vietnam carried out policy reform, many international research centers came to have. IRRI came with new technology and assistance to build up national capacity. Between 1985 and 2009, 77% of new rice varieties grown in Vietnam came from IRRI or had IRRI origin. IRRI came to have to do economic analysis and provide recommendation for trade liberalization. All combined it, have Vietnam to triple rice production between 1985 and 2015. For 30 years, we tripled it. And Vietnam, from a net importer, became one largest exporter of rice. Combination of policy and new technology is powerful. So that is one example. Today, our panel will share more example of successful partnership between government and research center to bolster resilience in rural areas and in agriculture. It is my honor to introduce esteemed panelists to my left, Dr. Sheikh Mohammad Bokhtiar, Executive Chairman, Bangladesh Agricultural Research Council. Next, Dr. Ndashe Kapulu, Assistant Director, Research Services at Zambia Agricultural Research Institute. And next, Dr. Adriane Cruvinel, Agricultural Attaché of Brazil in Mexico. So, my dear panelists, the first question for you all, can you share specific example of successful partnership between your government and research centers that have been resilient in farming system? So maybe lady first. Yeah, please.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, not as only as agricultural attaché, but as a member of Ministry of Agriculture in Brazil. Since the 70s, Brazil started a new way to promote the agriculture, join farmers, universities, and specifically by the Embrapa creation, that is a Brazilian agricultural research company. This successful partnership fostered the expansion of the agriculture to the central part of the Brazil, named Cerrado, that had an acid soil and no plants adapted to its weather. The soybean plant breeding associated with the use of the nitrogen fixation and the application of limestone to the soil became the crops more productive, the root system deeper, with improved of water efficiency and nutrition use. Nowadays, the same partnership is fostering the implementation of sustainable systems that include restoration of degraded pastures, integrated systems as crop, livestock, and forest integration, no-tillage systems, biological nitrogen fixation, including for corn nowadays, not only soybean, biological planted forests, animal waste management, and adaptation to climate change. From 1975 to 2020, Brazilian agricultural production increased 4,000% initially in area and productivity, and after that, specifically in productive. This is the principal part that we would like to share with you, what this partnership between the institutions promote to Brazilian agriculture.
Thank you. Yeah, wonderful example. So, Mr. Kapulu.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many areas where I could highlight key examples of how our government has collaborated with research centers, especially insofar as improving agricultural productivity within the country. So there are four main areas that I would like to highlight to maybe stress our point and just show us key examples. So number one, in the area of improving extension delivery services with a view of enhancing agricultural productivity, especially among smallholder farmers. The government of the Republic of Zambia has collaborated, particularly I think within this context, with CIMIT through the AIDI project. And through this initiative, I think we've made several technologies available. I think to date about 48 improved agronomic practices have been made available with our smallholder farmers. So in the last few years alone, I think we've managed to reach nearly 700,000 smallholder farmers in rural areas. As you might be aware that the southern part of Africa has been experiencing, the effects of climate change through drought and heat. And as such, enhancing access among smallholder farmers to improved technologies is one such vehicle that could improve their resilience. Another way where we've been able to collaborate with these research centers is through variety development. So yield is a function of genetics, environment, and management. And through these successful partnerships, I can highlight several CGI centers that we've partnered with. So CIAT, IRRI also, and IITA, and CIMIT. So specifically, I think for CIMIT, because maize is our staple crop, to date we've co-developed nearly 31 maize varieties that are tolerant to drought. And these have been made available to our smallholder farmers to improve their resilience. And Zambia, like many other countries in the global south, is also faced with the triple burden of malnutrition. So undernutrition, as well as micronutrient deficiencies, is one of the key challenges that affects our people. And in that regard, we've developed nearly 13 varieties that are nutrient-dense varieties. So for example, these varieties include about 6 or so maize varieties that are pro-vitamin A rich. We've also released quite a number of high iron, high zinc varieties for beans, as well as other tuber crops such as sweet potato, which are rich in pro-vitamin A. So now all these crop varieties are very important for our farming communities because these are the crops that our rural farmers are growing. In other aspects, we've also collaborated in the area of enhancing our seed delivery system. This is very important because when farmers have access to quality seed, then they'll be able to produce productively, but also be able to increase their productivity with a view of producing enough for their own consumption, as well as the excess can be sold out to output markets. So we've been collaborating with CIMIT in the area of improving our seed delivery system. We've been increasing access to seed. We've been working collaboratively by working with local seed companies as one of the key examples. Another area that I would like to highlight is in the area of conservation agriculture. Within the context of climate change, conservation agriculture is seen as one approach that could enhance rural resilience. And we've been carrying out extensive work with our smallholder farmers in collaboration with, like I said, CIMIT, to try and increase its adoption, but also try and generate evidence that could underpin policy formulation as well as other interventions by government. These are some of the few areas that I could highlight where we've scored successes insofar as collaborating with research centers. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kapulu. Dr. Bokhtiar, please.
Dear participant, it's a great honor for me to share some of the success of Bangladesh agriculture. Bangladesh, the most 7th populous country and the 7th most vulnerable country in regards to climate change. Still, Bangladesh has made an unprecedented success over a very quick period of time. Bangladesh, our food security basically we say rice security. So there is a saying, the Bangladeshi people are happy mixed with rice and fish. So right now we are self-sufficient in rice and fish. We are the 3rd largest rice producing country across the globe. This year we got highest record in rice. Our total production was 52 million milled rice. And actually IRRI contributed a lot for this today's success in rice production. And we also developed some nutrient in this variety, zinc in this variety by our Bangladesh Rice Research Institute. On the other way, CIMIT also contributed especially in wheat. Soon after independence, we have 64 administrative units. 1971, wheat was cultivated only 3 districts. Now across the country, we are growing wheat. and our total production is 1.1 million tons. Though we have deficit in 6 million tons, but our winter span is very limited. Due to heat increasing, we are not able to harvest the better yield of the wheat. But we have a great success in maize production. Our maize productivity, almost 9 to 10 ton per hectare. Across the globe, number 1, number 2 in respect of productivity. And actually, CIMIT contributed a lot for today's success in maize. And also in wheat, first we seen wheat blast 2015 in Bangladesh. And with the support of CIMIT, now we developed some blast resistance wheat variety. Also, CIMIT contributed a lot to control the fall army worm. It was seen in Bangladesh 2018. Instead of wheat, maize, also Bangladesh, the 7th position in respect of potato production. We are producing almost 10 million tons of potato, and CIP contributed a lot. In addition, out of crop sector, we have a tremendous development in fisheries and livestock. We are 3rd in inland rice field culture, and all fish contributed a lot. Also, we are self-sufficient in meat. So Bangladesh has made an unimaginable success over a quick period of time. And there are 3 things is important for today's development of Bangladesh. One is government commitment, and the second was technology. But technology is important but not sufficient. So government provided a lot of subsidy for the farmers, because Bangladesh agriculture is very, very intensive and very diverse agriculture. We have a very small country, 14.8 million hectare, but our cultivable land is 8.6 million hectare. We are using almost 6 million tons of fertilizer because we are growing 3 crops in a year from the same land. So it's a great challenge for us to how we can increase the efficiency of major input. Those are directly influencing in productivity. And another 3rd thing is very important. We have a very good institutional infrastructure. These 3 things has brought Bangladesh today's success in agriculture. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for insightful remark. One example you quoted, you show that technology can bring a lot potential, but in order to turn this potential into rice, real maize, we need good policy to encourage farmers, and we need to have support to farmers with infrastructure, with extension, with credit, with many things. Congratulations, Bangladesh and your countries. You could do that. Now, let's move further. Dr. Ndashe Kapulu, from your extensive experience, how would you advise our audience of government leaders, scientists, farmers, and more hunger fighters to support farmers in their effort to win agricultural resilience?
Thank you very much. I believe one of the things that this DialogueNEXT event is trying to achieve, number 1, is to highlight the fact that governments can no longer work in isolation for the sole purpose that climate change, is affecting us globally. What I'm trying to bring across here is the actions or the activities in one part of the world have detrimental consequences on another part of the world. And that is the reason I'm saying my advice to governments is that they can no longer work in isolation of each other. These emerging threats such as climate change, political instability, population growth and migration, these are global issues that put pressure on our food systems. And so for governments, there is a need, for governments to create a very good enabling environment for especially research and development, to be able to develop technologies, to be able to develop solutions to some of these challenges that are affecting our food system. The other thing that I would also like to highlight, particularly to the scientific community, which I belong to, is there is an urgent need and a call to action for us to develop more resilient technologies. For example, breeding, conventional breeding, takes nearly 15 or so years, for you to develop one variety. But as you would all agree with me, in the last 5-6 years, our climate has been changing, so drastically. One year, we have a drought event. The following year, it's a flood. In another place, it is a cold, environment. So for science, there is a growing need for us, to invest in appropriate technology development, that meets with the challenges of our modern times. For farmers, one of the things that could, be very key in this climate-riddled world in terms of building their resilience is, them embracing diversification. So farmers' productive systems need to be diversified, and yesterday I think we saw a classical example of how, a diversified food system, could build resilience, at farmer level. And to do this, there is a need for them to develop, or is it adopt, technologies that are being developed through R&D. And for all those who are engaged in the fight against hunger, which I believe is a collective effort, because for government, they provide the policy environment. For farmers, they're the ones who are engaged in production. For scientists, we ask these questions, and we are in a position to be able to answer, these questions that are affecting our production system. So to those who are engaged in the fight against hunger, I think there is a growing need, for strong advocacy, for a reduction, specifically in my view, to food waste. This is one area we've focused more on trying to increase productivity, but very little attention is being given to the amount of loss that is happening either within the production system, the post-production system, as well as at consumption level. So I believe one strategy that could be very helpful in terms of fighting hunger could be to address, the problem of food waste, among other initiatives, I believe, that are being undertaken by the community that is involved in food systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kapulu. Moving to Dr. Adriane Cruvinel, as an agronomist and agricultural attaché, what are the key challenges your country faces in fostering rural resilience, and how are you addressing them through policy and practices?
I will speak a little bit about the Brazilian policies regarding agriculture. The Brazilian government is working hard to promote the rural resilience by investments that regard the practices already mentioned. Annually, the Brazilian government publishes Plano Safra, an action plan that will invest only in the marketing year 2024-25 the amount of $92 billion for the development of national agriculture, an increase of 10% compared to the previous year. The program for financing sustainable agricultural production systems, named Renovagro, has the objective of encouraging adaptation to climate change and low carbon emissions in agriculture. Another program, the National Program for Conversion of degraded pastures into agricultural production systems and sustainable forests, the government promote the recovered and convert up to 4 million hectares of pastures in 10 years. When a pasture with a high degree of degradation is transformed in a sustainable crop or forest, there is an important effect on soil and water conservation and reduction of greenhouse gases emissions. It also makes our agriculture more competitive and sustainable. Another important program is the National Bioinputs Program, implemented in 2020 by the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock in partnership with the productive sector. Among the structured actions are supported investments in science, technology and innovation, credit and promotion, training and implementation of biofactories. Only from 2010 to 2020, these public policies increased applicable results as more 26 million of hectares of restoration of degraded pastures, more 10 million of hectares for crop livestock forest integration, more 4 million of hectares of no-tillage systems, more 12 million hectares for biological nitrogen fixation, more 2 million hectares for planted forests, and more 38 million of cubic meters for animal waste management. The key for these numbers are the base of the goals to the next years, up to 2030, is the partnership between government, farmers, and research centers. Including, Embrapa has a great story of collaboration with CIMITI and other institutions of research around the world with a lot of countries.
Thank you. Yeah, we can see that each country may have different challenges and solution too, but all country in this world when face the same problem of climate change. And once again, in order to address those challenges, we have to turn again to new technology and policy setting, but new, but different one. In the past, we were concerned, we paid attention more on productivity, but now we need both efficiency, productivity, and resilient, climate resilient. And of course, we need policy setting suitable for that. In my case of Vietnam, we need to have policy to encourage farmers and business to stay in countryside, invest in agriculture instead of shifting to industry to urban area. Thank you, Dr. Cruvinel. Dr. Shaikh Mohammad Bokhtiar, can you share how can government, research center, and other stakeholders work together to enhance access to knowledge, resources, and markets for farmers?
Thank you. We believe when scientists collaborate across his discipline and country, then they could achieve more than they could have achieved on their own. And scientists can make breakthrough which would have been impossible with the international collaboration. So our Honorable Prime Minister, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, 23 September 2021 in UN Food System Summit, she highlighted the developing, the strengthening and continuing the international relationship. Because the way we saw the rapid transformation in agriculture, without international collaboration, it would be harder to address the challenges right now prevailing across the globe, not only in Bangladesh. And we saw some success, especially in Bangladesh. USAID Feed the Future with the Cornell University, 2015 we released BT brinjal, and by which we can minimize the pesticide, because this BT brinjal was developed against fruit and shoot borer, and we saw the benefit of such technology. And Bangladesh is always highlighting the technology. Our Prime Minister, we say it's a technology-loving Prime Minister. That's a very small country. It's almost 13 times smaller than Brazil. Brazil have maybe 42 person per kilometer. We have 1,200 person per kilometer. So it's a great challenge for the policymaker, for the government, for the scientists to arrange food such scale growth of population. And you'll be happy to know, recently with the support of World Bank, Bangladesh launched a mega project, the history of Bangladesh. The economic envelope is $540 million US. The project name is Partner, acronym is Partner. Project for agriculture, project on agriculture transformation for resilient entrepreneurship, like that. And we are going to make a massive transformation in agriculture sector. And we are working with FO, we are working with CG Center, because a lot of commitment we have in partner project. There are 10 DLI, disbursement link indicator. So Bangladesh is very committed, and we develop some policies, especially how we can make our agriculture safe, profitable, and especially how the farmers can get benefit from the agriculture, how we can ensure the good price for the farmers. And recently also JICA assisted in Bangladesh to build 4,000 kilometer rural road, just a rural road, contributing the development of rural economy, including the agriculture market chain. So these are the success of collaboration. And recently Bangladesh is giving more emphasis on trade-based variety, especially because there are a lot of bioethics and public perception on GMO crop. So now we are giving more emphasis on gene-edited technology. And you'll be happy to know recently Her Excellency our Prime Minister launched a project, economic envelope is $65 million US. Our global food security, Saskatchewan, one of the technical partner. And we deployed almost 20 scholars. They will involve for full genome sequencing, so that we can identify some candidate gene that will be the great help for the breeder. So Bangladesh government has a very good preparedness to challenge the issues like you already mentioned, Bangladesh, 7th most vulnerable country. We are very less emitter across the globe. We are contributing 0.42% in greenhouse emission. But we are those victims of climate change. Every year there are 4 cyclone occurs in Bangladesh. So we have 64 administrative unit, 19 administrative unit under coastal area where sea level is rising. So salinity, one of the major threat for us. So Bangladesh developed a Delta Plan 2100 with the support of Netherlands government. There are 6 hotspots. We are trying to address this hotspot because some fallow land is there. So how we can bring all this land in cultivation by by releasing some specific variety, those are really suited for that hotspot. So Bangladesh government is giving more emphasis on varietal development program, because right now, one of the major challenge our colleague, he rightly mentioned, that right now our total food production is 79 million ton, but our requirement is 93 million ton. Still there are 13 million tons of gap. But if you look the food loss and waste, almost 13 million in our country. Every year per person food loss is 64 kg. So this is the important area. The whole country, the leader needs to address those issues, how we can minimize the food loss and waste. That is a very major challenging for us. And also Bangladesh government established the good agriculture practices to make our product safe. So these are the good initiative of Bangladesh government to just meet up the challenges, especially in food, water, and energy access. So that's all.
Thank you, Dr. Bokhtiar. With that, I thank all panelists for sharing their valuable insight. Please join me giving a big round of applause to the panelists. Thank you.